Course 2 Saxon Math. We're on lesson 54, and today we're going to be talking about rate word problems. And by the title here, rate means we're going to come up with like the amount of work done in a certain amount of time, or the amount of miles traveled in a certain amount of gallons of gas. So we're going to derive a rate. Let's look at the first example here, because we're going to use a similar process that we did in chapter 53, lesson 53, where we actually did equivalent fractions and we solved for the unknown. So if you look at number 1, if Mr. Gomez drives his car an average speed of 55 miles per 1 hour, okay, how far will he drive in 3 hours? Well, we're going to put our hours in the same location and our miles in the same location, and you notice we don't know how many miles there are. So we said we put a letter over here. I like to use x just because in algebra we use that a lot, and then we're going to simply cross multiply. Okay, so it's 1x equals 3 times 55. Well, 3 times 55 equals 165. So x equals 165. 1x is the same as saying x, so you don't need to really actually show that. So that's a pretty easy example. But we're using the same work that we did yesterday. Look at example 2. Mrs. Aikita's car averages 24 miles per 1 gallon. And then it says, about how many gallons of gas will she use on a trip of 300 miles? So it gave us how many miles. We don't know gallons. Again, we're going to cross multiply here, okay? 24x equals 300, because 1 times 300 is 300. We divide by 24. We divide by 24 on both sides because we want to cancel those out and leave x by itself. So x equals this division problem. And 24 going into 300 is 12.5. I'll let you do the actual work here, but 12.5 would go right here. That's how many gallons she's going to get. So you're going to Florida, you're going to Texas, you're going to California, you're going somewhere in the state, whatever. You can find out how many gallons you're going to use based on your average miles per gallon. And this can help you budget. It can help you figure out what kind of car you should buy, difference between a car and a truck, whether you should buy a smart car, electric car. There's all kinds of things that this kind of math can help you with. Let's go to something that most of you are interested in, that is work. You want to earn money. So example 3 gives a resource for this. It says Hannah works for 8 hours and she gets paid $68. Okay, let's do 8 hours and she gets paid $68. Okay. The question says, what is her hourly rate? Well, 68 and 8 will have to be divided so that you can find her hourly rate. So this is per day, right? So if we're going to solve this, we have to cross multiply. And what this will end up doing is a division problem. Well, how many times does 8 go into 68? Well, 8 times 8 is 64, and then we're going to carry a 0 here, which is 40, and then 8 times 5 is 40. So there we go. That means $8.5 per hour. Okay, $8.50 an hour. Not bad. Now, B says, use her hourly rate of pay to find out how much she's going to earn for $30. Well, if she makes $8.50 per hour, we can multiply by 30 and come up with our answer. Okay? And so these problems are actually relatively easy. And again, we'll find that she makes 225, or excuse me, 255, do my math right, dollars for 30 hours worth of work. Okay, not bad for maybe a high school student working in a grocery store or something else like that. Not bad at all. All right, so rate problems. That's what we're dealing with today in our lesson. And again, we're still using this concept of cross multiplication to determine a rate, and then we're going to use that rate to answer other questions that will be asked. Okay, so use this skill, work on it, and it's a valuable skill for life as well. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to ask.